okay, we've had this bombing and shooting in Norway, 90 children shot dead, thing terrible. They got the man that did it, they've got him in custody, they've identified him. On his Facebook page it says that he is a hardline right winger, a Christian and a Freemason. And so the Sun, with a great grasp of the facts, have come up with their headline this morning: Al-Qaeda massacre. Yeah. Problem with that? Sometimes working at a newsagent's, it would be a lot easier if people told us what it was they actually wanted, as opposed to why. Here's an example of that. Today we had a phone call from a gentleman who told us that he wanted to order a newspaper because his newspaper had stopped arriving. This was quite confusing in the first place. Why would he want to order a newspaper because his newspaper had stopped arriving? Surely he just wanted his newspaper to continue being delivered. He said the reason his newspaper hadn't been arriving was because his next door neighbour had stopped having a newspaper when the News of the World shut down. Okay, so what you're actually saying is your next door neighbour stopped having a newspaper, and we accidentally kept delivering it to him, and therefore not having a newspaper to deliver to you. That can happen with some paper boys, but that wasn't what he was saying, and it still wouldn't have explained why he thought ordering a newspaper would. Well, what it turned out in the end to be was that his next door neighbour had been ordering the newspaper, and then when their next door neighbour had read the paper, had been giving it to him. So he needed to order a newspaper for himself because his next door neighbour was no longer ordering that paper. If he just said, I want to order a newspaper, the whatever it was he ended up having, we'd have had this one sussed out in under a minute. As it was, it took about 10 to suss out what it was he was actually trying to ask for. For gardeners such as myself, the trickiest bit whilst delivering newspapers is resisting the urge to deadhead customers' roses. Okay, I tend not to believe everything I read in the Mail on Sunday, that's a given. I tend not to believe their news stories, that's understandable. After all, it's the Mail on Sunday. But you would think you could believe their vouchers, wouldn't you? A couple of weeks ago, on the last day of the News of the World, the Mail on Sunday sent us at the shop a pile of vouchers to be given out to News of the World customers to tempt them to read the News of the World. They were 50p off vouchers. Each sheet had 4 vouchers to go inside the News of the World for the 4 weeks after the closure of the News of the World, giving 50p off each Mail on Sunday for those 4 weeks. So now lots of our customers have these vouchers, which we sent to them, and of course they believe them, which is great, except this morning we received the following letter. The Mail on Sunday, 24th of July. It is from a Mail Newspapers Circulation Department. It says, Dear retail colleague, on Sunday the 24th July, only the maximum price... Sorry, let me start that again. On Sunday the 24th July only, the maximum price of the Mail on Sunday will decrease to £1 nationally. They say only. They did it last week as well. The reduction of the cover price last week stimulated the market significantly and created much needed extra sales for retailers at this difficult time. In line with other national newspapers, please be aware that you should not accept 50p discount vouchers for Sunday the 24th of July only, as the price is already reduced to £1. Now, I don't know which other national newspapers they're talking about, but there was only one other national newspaper that actually sent out vouchers. That was the Mirror. Their vouchers said buy the Mirror for 70p, and they're valid. So I don't know which other national newspaper they're talking about. There are of course vouchers you can get by which you can buy the Telegraph for free, or the Times or the Observer for free. You pay for a book of vouchers and you get those, but they're kind of a very different kettle of fish altogether, and you can't really get much cheaper than free. You certainly can't take money off it. So there you go. They've just told us that all those vouchers that they told us to give to our customers a couple of weeks back, the ones for this week, are completely worthless. And you know what? Our customers were quite annoyed about this. And did they shout at the Neil Jagger, circulation director of the Mail newspaper? No, because he wasn't there. They were, however, quite miffed at me for telling them this. Well, some of them were. Some of them, obviously, they understood it was none of my fault and just the Daily Mail. But it goes to prove that you can't trust a word the Daily Mail says. And if you can't trust their vouchers, what appears to be a solemn promise that they will give you money off, what else can you trust? Google Plus seem to have gone and shot themselves in the foot big time. They appear to have started deleting accounts of people who look like they're not using their real names. Now, I got away with this for some time on Facebook because my name that I use there looks like a relatively real name, and to be honest, it is my real name. It's a name I've lived under both online and in the real world for the best part of the last 20 years. Quite frankly, if they discover the fact that my mum has been living under a name that's not her real name since, I think, before she could talk, she might be in trouble, because she's currently signed on to onto Facebook under the name she has lived under for these last 60 years, as opposed to the one on her birth certificate. There's a lot of people on various scenes who don't use their real name online. Furries, for instance, quite a lot of goths, other sci-fi fans, and generally people. Also, people that have been online for a very long time. If you signed up online when I first got to the internet, no one used names as such online. They had usernames, and these were generally 8 characters long maximum, and you never really used your real name for those, or at least very few people did. As a result, many people of my web generation met most of their friends online under a completely different name. And if we were sensible, we then went out and met them in real life, as I did. But that means that most of my friends from a large swathe of my life don't know my real name, and so I would lose contact with them if this all went through and went badly. So Google Plus has kicked itself in the teeth, and if they don't stop, I think they're going to lose a lot of customers, and possibly because all the techie crowd, and especially the more mature techie crowd, who were a lot of swathe of the early adopters here, they're all going to go away. No, this is not a gratuitous arse shot as such. This is the first stage of me getting back to doing some serious art. Today, well, I'll tell you about what I'm aiming for in a minute, but you see, the thing is, the first step of me starting a new work of art is always the same, which is getting this bloody desk tidied. That's got to go into my accounts, which I'd better do first. Okay, there's tidying done. Cutting board found. Knife found, I should add, which is even trickier. And now, the reason for all this, which is my first experiment trying to put a picture using airbrush onto a nice box canvas like that. Totally an experiment. Don't know how well airbrush will go onto this. It's really meant for oils and stuff, so yeah, we'll see. That's the size we're working to. I spent some time in Photoshop mocking up the draft, getting that right. Now we've got to make the stencils. The picture we're working from is going to need to be put together, but well, it looks like that. Anyway, first thing I've got to do is take these 4 bits that are printed to scale, cut them down and sellotape them together to create my template. A scary thought. I've actually been on the internet longer than Google. That's right, I'm officially a web codger. Anyway, that's all we got time for this week, or at least this episode. The rest of the week will be in the next episode, so I'll see you then. Goodbye.